sure it's recording.
Well, we can cut that out.
Yeah, cool.
Hello, we're doing the Boston Beer Company analysis, and I'm John.
I'm Brazil.
I'm Michael.
I'm Jesus Valverde.
I'm Trent.
Richard. Justice.
And we'll get started with a quick history and overview of the company.
Okay, so the Boston Beer Company was founded by Jim Clark and Rhonda Kahneman. He discovered his great-great-grandfather's recipe in his father's attic, and that's how he started setting or making using his recipe. At first, they sold a beer called Samuel Adams Boston Lager from bar to bar, and then when he became very famous, he made the product public in 1985. His main competitors are DG Jonathan and Some Incorporated with a 9% market share, and Boston Beer Company has an 11% market share. This company is a private, the main competitor is a private family-owned brewery. For their present business and corporate strategies, their main strategy is built around crafting high-quality beer and invest in research and testing to create new brews. They have more than 60 styles of these Samuel Adams beer. Some of these beers include the Boston Lager, the Brewmaster, and the Barrel Brewing Collection. And they recently announced a merger with another brewery called Dogfish Head Brewery. Together, they will lead the craft brewery industry with innovation, quality, and expertise. In their financials, they had a decline with gross profit from 2015 to 2017. As you can see, they went from approximately 500,000 to 449,000, and then back again in 2018 with approximately 512,000.
Okay, and then we'll jump into the general macro environment, exploring all 6 segments. The first of which is the sociocultural, and apparently what we've found is 2 groups that are really hindering the growth of the beer market, and as more people join them over the years, those 2 being individuals with health concerns and religious-minded individuals that see drinking as a sin to say. Both these groups collectively create a negative opportunity for Boston Beer Company and beer industries around the entire market. The next of which is demographic. Essentially, in the beer industry, we have general light beers and then craft breweries. As general light beers start to decline, taking the full market of the brewery system down with it, craft brews have actually started to increase, and with that demographic, drinkers are primarily males, about 65% compared to 35%, and of course over 21, and around the ages between 21 to 45. Next is the global segment. Here we see that imported beer globally is becoming more in more demand, and that positively affects Boston Beer Company as they can gain traction in markets around the world and create a new market base. Next, technological. This sort of has a double-edged sword. It's positive and negative. Of course, in a perfect world, you'll be able to implement technologies and improve your economies of scale. With that, however, and especially in this industry, they're constantly changing and they're very expensive. So if you're unable to afford new policies, new industry, you're going to fall behind in economies of scale. And when pricing is very important, that's going to take you down a whole lot of notches among competition. Next, we have political legal. It's a highly regulated market, not only at the national level, but also at the state level for a lot of these breweries. Regulation can stem anywhere from alcohol content to waste management to labeling and copyright and so much more. And with that, every brewery is subject to national and state level taxes, especially because there is alcohol content. There's more incentive for the governments of both legislatures to do so. Lastly, we go into economic, and this is where it gets kind of interesting, is essentially in the beer industry, it's broken up into 3 segments. We have, like we mentioned before, the light beer, big companies, AB, Miller, Coors, and the high tier market segment. And then we really get into geographical, like Boston Beer Company and the mid-tier market. And lower tier are these new local craft breweries like Austin Beer Works coming in. Each of which companies have the potential to claim market share in their specific segmented markets. So that's a positive influence for Boston Beer Company in the economic sector.
So moving on to the industry analysis, we have 3 big issues. It's the high threat of new entrants. This is due to the growing market, which is also a good thing for Boston Beer Company. They are able to utilize their size and figure out a good market share, hopefully. And the 2 other big issues that we're dealing with here are big breweries emerging or increasing in size. This is giving them increased bargaining power of suppliers to demand increased and specific hops and barley that they need to produce their products, which is a negative thing for our Boston Beer Company. The last issue we're dealing with here is the intense competition. This is due to the perishability of beer and also the high exit barriers, which is caused from the specialized equipment that breweries need to operate.
Alright, now we're going to be going over the BRIO resource-based view. And for the customer community, it's pretty difficult to imitate, as building a community around one of your brands takes time and dedication. Not anyone can just start a new company and start getting brand loyalty right off the bat. It takes a couple years and time to adjust to. The pricing strategy, these are not as rare as everyone has access and visibility to them. Everybody can see what pricing you're at, what's the competitive pricing. Pricing the beer is something that should be thought out and may lead to a loss in sales if prices are not fully researched and accommodated. And for regulatory and legal obligations, these are followed throughout every industry. And these are set of regulations that may impact the market dependent on territory and laws implemented by them.
And for financial resources, it's not exactly rare since most big beer companies are financially flexible, but since there's such a wide margin gap, props can create a temporary competitive advantage. However, it can also be seen as a threat because if profits do decline for a company, it can be seen as a weakness within inside the firm. And then another is position among retailers. Strong value, but not very rare because most companies are able to get into stores and be able to sell. And from then on, it's up to them and their community whether they can keep a sustainable competitive advantage. I think customer loyalty is extremely valuable for a company like Boston Beer Company because there is a community that is based around Boston Beer Company. It's not easy to imitate, but there's so many people who change their preferences so often and what they like and what beer they prefer. It's always changing, but the community for Boston Beer Company is unique, and this creates a strong competitive advantage in the industry.
And for the track record of project execution, it's very costly for competitors to imitate, and then this provides a strong competitive advantage for Boston Beer Company.
So now we have value chain analysis, and Porter described the value chain framework as a interdependent system or network of activities connected by linkages, and which managed carefully could be a vital source of good performance for a firm. And these linkages can be split up into 5 different steps. There would be inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and then service. And then afterwards comes support, and we'll get to that. So first, for inbound logistics, we have activities related to receiving, storing, spreading inputs to the product, such as material handling, warehousing, inventory control, vehicle scheduling, and returns to suppliers. And so inbound logistics for Boston Beer Company, they really focus on getting in fresh, natural ingredients, and so this can result in them brewing in-house or going out-house to someone who, a supplier who they don't actually own or have they just have a relationship with, they don't actually directly own, and that's where they get their brewing. But that's for some of the lesser known or newer additions to their brand. So then we have operations. Operations are processes within manufacturing which transform inputs into the final product. So this would be packaging, testing, and facility operations. And we'll get to that a little bit more in depth as we go along. Then we have outbound logistics. That involves distributing to the point of sale, which includes warehousing of finished goods, material handling, and delivery and transportation. Boston Beer Company distributes to over 400 wholesalers, and that's and then we have marketing and sales. This is their strongest point. Boston Beer Company's case, they have approximately 265 people who are very well versed on their brewing processes, and this is in order to better explain the quality and care of their product. So each one of these members of the sales force, all 265 of these people, also carry around samples of hops and barley and other ingredients, just to show the importance of the natural, high quality ingredients that go into their products. And that comes from the high quality of inbound logistics, right? And another big thing that goes now onto the marketing side would be their high customer loyalty, and this even comes from a most recent acquisition of, not acquisition per se, but in 2018, Boston Beer Company became the official beer of the Boston Red Sox. So this is just another huge thing that goes into customer loyalty, the brand of our product. So anyways, on to service. Service activities are to maintain and enhance the products and value performance after being sold. This would be done through customer support or replacements or training of employees, and this could even be seen through complementary products like products that would enhance the value of beer, say in-house nuts for the bars at like their breweries, where you can actually come in and enjoy the beer at the breweries where they have events and whatnot. And Boston Beer Company was actually named in the top 5 of customer loyalty out of all companies out of any industry by The Wire. And as you can see from our customer loyalty. And now to support. So we have four big support activities. That's procurement, technology, human resources, and infrastructure of the firm. And so procurement, right, is just trying to get ingredients and supplies at the lowest cost possible, right? But that also goes into the quality of those said ingredients, right? So procurement is a huge deal for any company in the beer industry, but especially, I was going to say Sam Adams, but Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams being one of their big ones, getting in very natural, high quality ingredients at a very low price. And this leads us into technology, which will be getting high quality things at a low price is going to come with having to innovate our technology, right, which they do a very good job of. And then onto human resources and infrastructure, right? Two big things that are a little more broad, but can really bring a lot of value to our company if we do a good job of it. And the difference between value, right? A little summary is just the value you offer to the customers, and the cost of creating that value is the difference between you and your competitors.
So now moving on to the SWOT analysis. First we'll look at the internal side of things and the strengths and weaknesses. The major strength that Boston Brewing Company faces is that they have strong customer loyalty through producing their high quality brews. And the major weakness is that they only target a niche market. They don't really have a product that competes with the biggest companies in the beer industry. Looking at the external side of things, they do have a huge opportunity in that the craft brewing industry is growing every year, and Boston Beer Company is at the forefront of it. They have the largest market share within the craft brewing industry, so if they continue to do that, then that's a huge increased potential for them. And the major threat, though, is that with an increasing craft brewing industry, there's lots of smaller competitors as well, which consumers actually favor and are willing to spend money on. So they have to look out for that. And based on this SWOT analysis, there's some alternative strategies that we've come up with. The first is that Boston Beer Company could use advertising to focus on enticing standard beer drinkers by ingraining an association with high quality throughout their advertising and maintaining the status as the premier craft brewing company. Another alternative strategy is that they should continue horizontal integration by gaining more market share, more mergers, acquiring new smaller brands, and doing whatever they can to lower production costs. The craft brewing industry is much smaller than the beer industry as a whole, and they're strictly focused on this market right now. What they really need to do is create a product that competes, or that can compete with the largest companies, and increase their profit and market share, potential customer base.
So to wrap up, we want to finish with this strategic recommendation that we came up with. First, to solve the issue of Boston Beer Works only marketing to a closed niche market, and the issue of health concerns becoming a problem for beer industries around the market. We want to create a product, a craft brew that's centered around low calorie content, a healthy alternative to beer, still being a beer. And getting there, with our arenas, developing new craft beer, essentially centered around health concerns. Our vehicles to get us there is we would achieve this through internal development, and it won't be cheap and it won't be easy. A lot of research and a lot of industries really need to go into developing that, because essentially what exists right now is basically Michelob Ultra's low calorie beer, but there's no taste. So we want to include taste as a craft brew. Then that goes into our differentiator. It's going to be a low-calorie, tasteful beer for our customers. Next, we move into staging, and we look to implement a slow staging process because it's going to be expensive, and because we need to know that our beer is going to hit the market running once we are ready to release it. We believe a slow staging process will help us get us there more efficiently, and with that, our economic logic is that a slow staging process will allow us to gain our economies of scale in order to produce this beer at a low cost and ultimately generate a lot of revenue and a lot of profit with that. And that is Boston Beer Company. Thank you.
Clap for ourselves.